Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the PowerTalk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. This is our first episode for season 2 2026, and our guest today is a four-time best-selling Amazon author. He is also one of the top leading American industry influencer by Mirror Review, the founder of AppRoyo, Christopher Carter. Christopher, welcome to the Power Talk Show.
Thank you. I'm going to take you everywhere I go to be my hype man. That sounded really, really good. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today. Chris, before we begin our conversation, can you tell us a bit about your background and what led to the creation of AppRoyo and other serial entrepreneurship journey?
That's a long time ago question because I started my entrepreneurship and started building companies when I was a young man in high school with my first company, and go through the years now. I left for college when I was a young man. I went to Georgia Tech with an Apple IIe and a Commodore VIC-20 computer. And I knew I always wanted to get into the technology because when I left, I had started playing on a computer in 1984. And when I left for college in 1987, there still wasn't this World Wide Web that we have now. Computers were brand new. People, shoot, there's more technology in this phone than there was in computers when we first started. But I just found it fascinating. And so you scroll forward all these years, and I loved playing with technology, loved cloud computing, AI. And before AI, it was machine learning, everybody. And I was doing that 15 years ago. So all these, and I wanted to start these companies. So I started my first companies and, like I said, high school. But then as I got out of college and I left college and I went through the working world, then I was doing work for SAP America. And then I started doing work for others. I was like, I want to do something where I'm in charge, where I can make decisions, where I can help others. And so I started a group of different companies, sold one, then I guess just dissolved one. And then I started another one. And then I kind of retired. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, a good friend of mine brought a bottle of whiskey, Scotch whiskey over. And we sat outside of my backyard talking about this new thing from SAP. And it got this all excited again. And now fast forward 15 years this year, I've created not only AppRoyo for SAP companies to be able to support them on their journey for their RISE transformation, but I also have Mugatu AI, which helps companies with their AI journeys, not only wrapped around SAP, which is a good part of it, but for other parts of the world and other parts of the entities from an AI-based perspective. Then I have Charging Bunny, which is an EV-based solar charging company that never takes power from the grid. It only takes it from solar. And when we have excess, we actually sell it back to the grid to help the environment, to help everything move along. And so it's a fascinating journey. It's a wonderful journey. And along the way, I'm always trying to help customers, people who don't even want to work with us, who just have questions, my staff, and I'm trying to help the younger generation educate themselves on what's possible to become a bigger, better, faster, and stronger human being to live and work in this new AI-based initiative that this world has come into.
Wow, that's very interesting journey. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing that with us. And I'll actually dive into each company and each industry that we talked about. But I want to understand, you talked about SAP and you talked about AI. How do you see legacy ERP systems working in tangent with the current AI modern technology?
It's very well. You look at let's just take the two big behemoths in the room, SAP and Oracle. SAP has built Joule into everything that they're doing from an SAP standpoint. There's over 400 different templates. There are 50 plus different, 5,000, excuse me, not 50, 5,000 different use cases for all those templates that have already been built. And it is literally ingrained in everything that they're doing and using. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a project right now. I actually came out of retirement and these fingers are actually doing keyboard work. I'm working on a project with SAP to be able to utilize Joule and their BTP platform to be able to support organizations this is before they go to RISE, to understand and validate everything they need to be successful to go to RISE. And for me, that's exciting stuff. Then you look at Oracle. Oracle literally bought Virtual Iron about 10, 15 years ago, and that was their backbone. literally everything now is growing on top of that. And that's where their focus is. So the two of those behemoths, everything is about AI and how they can get bigger, better, faster, stronger human beings to work with the technology that they have.
That's interesting, Chris, because your cloud computing was in the market. It was always there. ML, machine learning, was always there. LLM models was always there. What suddenly changed that AI became such a big buzzword?
Speed and consumption, to be able to consume the amounts of data that they do now and to be able to do it in milliseconds, sometimes even nanoseconds, and to be able to give you an answer that is so much more valuable to you and your organization. It's much more than just going on to ChatGPT or ChatHub or maybe Google Gemini. It's so much more than just going on that and asking, hey, I'm looking at doing this, or hey, I want to do this. It is really taking the data that you have in your organization and being able to use it and leverage it at the speed of a snap of a finger. Once you get those prompts proper, it's amazing. I was just at an event in Orlando literally the last 3 days, and we were working through AI based prompting and SAP prompting and technology prompting. I'm the technologist. I love the tech, but I also look at it from a human standpoint, who we are and what we're doing. What are our personas? How, from my perspective, what is the value of this for my customer and their specific needs? I've got retail customers, I got CPG customers, I got bank customers, I've got all these different styles of customers, and each one of their personas is different. So I have to think about it from their standpoint. I can't think about it from my standpoint. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm trying to help them make decisions and to be able to grow their company. And so I'm looking at those directives and trying to help organizations with that activity.
Absolute. I agree with you 100%. Chris, so there's the OEM and there are the partners, the implementation partners and the distributors. How do you see that ecosystem growing in the current AI world? And as we evolve, how do implementation partners and distributors grow and scale?
Well, that's a great question, because when you look at the partner ecosystem, and I'm going to stick with SAP a little bit because I do more in the SAP side than I do on the Oracle side. I've got team members that do that. Having been in this ecosystem since 19, literally see the growth. SAP has mandated more partners join the ecosystem. More of them have got specialties. More partners in that ecosystem are helping organizations better themselves. Now, it's a double-edged sword, to be honest with you. Some of these partners come in and they're not, how do I say this nicely? They're not very good at the SAP side of the house. They're very good at whatever this technology is over here. Maybe they're working with AI and they're working with the different LLMs or SLMs and the personas and different pieces from an AI standpoint. Maybe they've never used cloud before. Maybe they have. Maybe they don't have the expertise. But to get that, and it's funny, I'm looking right there. Those are my mastering SAP books, which are bestsellers on Amazon. Not that I'm pitching it. I give them away free all the time, but if anybody wants one, they can contact me on my LinkedIn. What I say in those books is you really need to know what SAP is doing, what Rise is doing. You're going to have a drastic change when you go from this ECC environment to this Rise environment that's only cloud-based. And the activities, what you're doing here to there is different. Plus, what you're doing here to there with applications is different. Plus, AI is different, cloud is different. You really need to know that. And unfortunately, I've been around this industry too long where some of these partners that have come in willy-nilly, they don't. Even some of the
Mhm.
ones that have been here a while, they just all of a sudden say, "Oh yeah, we got an AI practice." And your guys can't even spell AI if you gave them the A first. So it's sad. So it is a double-edged sword, but there is a lot of great success out there when you look at partners like ourselves and some of the ones that have been in this ecosystem and they know the SAP side and they've learned the tools to be able to integrate them into the SAP environment properly.
Absolutely. That's a very interesting point of view, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Moving the conversation from technology to your other business, Charging Bullet. What is it all about? From where did you get that idea?
I got that idea because I bought a Tesla. I bought a Tesla car. I got it for my daughter originally, who was in high school, because she needed a car. And I thought it was, looking at everything, I thought it was great. It was safe. It was energy efficient. And I tried to give back to the environment. I'm not a tree hugger, but yet I'm somebody who cares about the planet I live on, and I care about the people that live here in ways and forms. And I started looking at all the charging, and I was like, we got this beautiful orb up in the sky, and it's solar, and we can use so much with it. So I started doing a lot of research on different panels, different components. And so my brain never stops, my wife says. She always asks me, so how do you do this? I say, well, I compartmentalize everything. Well, in Charging Bunny, one day I was sitting there doodling, and I doodled a sketch out. And in order to do charging that helps build the battery backups and hold the battery backups, just like you would in your house, you've got to have a fairly large solar panels set up on top. Well, I went outside and I measured the car. I measured the length and I measured the width. I thought, well, why does the car need to sit in the sun when it can just slide right underneath? And that whole space is solar panels that is charging battery backups that are then, and when there's not a car and they're charging, it's building up the power. And oh, by the way, it's only going one direction. It's a single direction instead of a bi-directional power feed. It either goes to a car through those charging mechanism, or at 11:59:59 every night, it gets shot to the grid, and there's a data stamp that tells how much power was fed to the grid to be able to help the grid. And most people don't know this, that when power companies charge you, they charge you less for power consumed in the evenings when there's less tug on the power rug. You're not out there doing your dishwasher, you're not washing your clothes, you're not running your full house at midnight. You're doing that during the middle of the day. And so we feed that back to them in order for them to be able to use that, to be able to store that in their backup systems. And so it was this whole process of thoughts and evolutions and ideas. And it's amazing what comes to you when you're drinking coffee and you're walking around and you're looking at the vehicles and you see all these things. And that's how I came
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely. It's very interesting. And just to understand, when you send the power back to the grid, certain cases they give you back credits, like in case of carbon credits or carbon offsets.
That
Is that something that you're looking forward to?
That is correct. We get carbon offsets, we get carbon credits, we do get financial opportunities with some counties, municipalities that's how they would prefer to do it. They give us back less than what they take in. So, and that's fine, but it's all about trying to figure that system out, because Tesla has stopped building the superchargers, and some of these other companies that are out there do nothing but pull from the grid. And no matter where you go in the globe, I'll be very honest. The only ones that are really good are Dubai, Saudi Arabia, some of the countries in Europe. You guys have built a system in place in order for these charging mechanisms to be able to use. You've got great weather for this. You've got great sun. And the fact that you can have solar farms out there, even with the sandstorms and everything that comes out. It's funny. I was reading a research article about this. Even with there are certain ones that we can fold up. There are certain ones and there's certain cleaning mechanisms that literally, sandstorm comes, there's this mesh shield that comes up, and when it's done, the mesh shield comes off and it just goes right back. It can even pull the solar through the mesh, and it can hold the solar rather than the sand and the debris just goes away. And of course, you hire people to do things back and forth, but it's
Absolutely.
phenomenal planet.
Is one of the forefront when it comes to sustainable goals. Yeah,
Yes.
development goals. Yeah. So,
Yes.
Chris, moving the conversation to your entrepreneurship journey, what has been your biggest lesson so far in your entire journey?
Help others. Help others to, as you're going up the ladder of success, it does end. Bring people along with you and try to push them up that ladder of success as well. Some days you're going to fall a couple of stairs and you're going to get knocked down a couple of rungs. We've all had it happen where somebody's lost a job or somebody's been furloughed or whatever the case may be, and you've been knocked down a couple of pegs. I had closed down a company one time, 20 plus years ago, and it was not a fun journey. But I went out and I had conversations and I started talking to people that I pushed up the ladder of success, just started talking with them. And it's amazing how it helped my mindset. And one of those people actually introduced me to somebody else who knew something, and I started thinking about other projects. And then, of course, Michael came along. And then, so help others. Be that entrepreneur that's going to help others. Not everybody's going to stay in your company. You want those people. So when you've got somebody that there's a ceiling sometimes in your company at different spots. You've got a vice president of sales who is phenomenal. You're not going to leave them. You're not going to move them, but you've got some salespeople that maybe are fantastic. They come to you and say, hey, I've got a spot for a VP of sales that I'm looking for. I'm all about, hell yes, let me help you. Do you need a letter? Do you need me to make a phone call? Is it somebody I know, somebody that I can interact with? Technologists as well. I've got tech people. There's this one young man, Chris, that I know, phenomenal, phenomenal tech person. Our company wasn't doing certain pieces, but one of the big companies out there in the universe, one of the big four, came to him and asked him if he would like to join their organization. And I was like, hell yes, young man. I'm going to miss you. We're going to backfill you. We're desperate in need. But at the end of the day, I want you to be driven for success for you, not for me. Drive your success.
That's what great leaders do, actually.
Oh,
Chris,
thank you.
looking back at your journey, if you would start again, what would you do differently?
I'd be a baseball player rather than a technologist. No, what would I do differently?
Yeah.
I would hire faster. I would hire people faster for the roles that I need. I hired later than I should have for my CIO, my chief operating officer, my CFO. I thought I could do this all myself. And at the end of the day, you really can't do it all yourself. There's 24 hours in a day, and I try to use 20 of them. But I'm getting older now. I'm 56, and I wish I would have hired those people 20 years ago rather than 15 years ago. I would have had more hair probably now.
Absolutely. That's great piece of advice. What is your vision for the next 5 years? Where are you heading? What are you looking at?
Well, I'll probably retire sometime soon, but my wife won't let me sit around the house. So I'm probably not going to retire. I've got too many things I've got going on. I've got another AI journey that I'm playing with right now about contemplating going forward with and joining to the portfolio. I'm looking at the activities where I'm doing a lot of speaking now, especially at universities and different shows. I bring my books and I give them away for free for everybody because I want them to get a understanding of what's out there, what they can do, how they can do things. And so I give those away. But when I speak, somebody made a great comment to me one day. He goes, "You really speak from the heart." And I do. A lot of people are trying to sell something when they're on stage. I never want to sell anything other than my knowledge to pass along to someone else. Because at the end of the day, my knowledge is something that I've built up since the 1980s. And to share a little bit of that with somebody, are you in your 20s?
30s.
30s. My gosh, you look great. You are so young. Well, still,
Thank you so
that's a
much.
20 plus year gap. I've done things that I don't want you to do in those 20 years that I hope you don't have to do. And I want to pass that information on. I want to pass on the knowledge of technologies. I want to pass on the growth, what's going on, how businesses run, what you need to do for businesses and activities. So my goal is always to help education. So I open up my heart, I help them understand. And then when I travel the globe, it's interesting. I've got a speech. I've got a speech in Dubai. I've got a speech in Amsterdam, and I've got a speech in Paris, March, I think, March, April, these timelines. I go there, and then, yes, there are different cultures in different countries, but we're all the same business people. We all have the same growth. We all know that we want to move forward and how. So I'm trying to help these individuals and organizations and people how they can take the knowledge that I have and use it for themselves.
Absolutely. Good luck with your journey, Chris. One
Thank you.
final question to you,
Please.
and I ask this to all my guests. One piece of advice that you received change your perspective professionally and personally.
Oh, that's a great question because I still adhere to this today. There was an old commercial way back in the 1980s and 1990s by the company Nike that said, "Just do it." And my mentor at the time, I didn't understand if I should be doing stuff. Should I do this? Should I do that? He goes, "Just do it. What do you got?" Especially young people. If you do not have a family and you're not settled down in roots and you're still trying to figure out what you want to do in life and you're trying to figure out how to be successful, how to grow, how to be me. Who am I? Just go out there and do stuff. Fail fast. Every time you fail, you're learning something. I have failed millions of times, but I've taken that knowledge and I've learned from it. So just do it. You want to travel the globe? Okay, take that, but take a specific time and do it in a specific time and learn. Are you going to be an influencer doing that? Hey, you might go from one person to millions of people. You never know. You want to be a technologist and you want to learn some new technology? Go to that free trade show. Get up early and study something. You want to go and you want to be me. Okay, well, go out there and look at the Google and go ask Google Gemini everything there is about me and what I've done on my journeys. But be the best you possibly can be and just do it. Don't worry about failing. You're going to fail millions of times. Just keep getting up off the ground. Here, I'm going to turn my screen. I have this Rocky Balboa sign here. And this Rocky Balboa sign specifically talks about nothing's going to hit you harder than life itself. You got to keep getting up off the mat. You got to keep moving forward. The more that you can move forward and the more that you can move and be better for yourself, the better you're going to be. So I have that on my wall in not only this office, but my other office. And I tell all my staff when they come in and they do their last or they do their first meeting of the day in our company, I get to meet with them. I talk about that. I said, you're going to fail a million times over. Let's hope that they're small failures and you learn from those, not some massive failure where you crash a system. I had somebody do that once, but keep learning, keep persevering, and keep moving forward because you're going to become the best you possible.
Absolutely. Just do it. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for joining
Thank,
our podcast today. It was a wonderful conversation.
thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the future. And everybody can find me on my LinkedIn. I answer everybody and I respond to everybody. Just have a profile picture. But I look forward to just answering any questions anybody has anytime. And I'll make sure
That's
everybody's
wonderful.